In my sketchbook I'm going to make a collage. I'm just using pieces of scrap bits of paper that I've used before, and these are just scraps that have been lying around. They've got drawings on them, they've got paint effects, experiments in layering, and I'm just sort of playing around with them, trying to arrange them so that they create an interesting and sort of balanced composition. So gluing them down, and then once they're glued down, I'm just going to come in with a bit of paint just to sort of finish it off, give a bit of depth to that left hand side there. So that's just a very simple composition using collage. And now from that composition I want to explore some of the elements that I like in the collage in paint. So picking up the blue colour, I'm just laying in some paint effects by using transparent glazes and then thick paint, and building up some layers and just getting some nice effects. Underneath were some of the gloss medium that I had used to glue down the collage, so that's giving some of those marks as well. And then looking at the collage, there are some things in there that I want to take into this painting. And starting with the square shape and the sharp edges that some of those shapes have, and then bringing in the line. And now looking at the shapes that I have on the left hand side in the collage, I'm just sort of bringing in some of those and just alternating between opaque paint and transparent paint, mixing water in with the paint to get some paint effects to build up the layers, and just combining line with shape, light with dark areas as well. Just seeing what sort of effects I can get. So when I paint normally, I don't have any sort of limitations. Anything's possible. But giving myself these limitations to just work within this colour palette, and looking at the shapes and the lines and elements that I like from the collage, gives me these limits, and it forces me to focus on just limiting myself, and doing that puts me in a different puts me in a different space when I'm creating, so that the chances of me coming up with something new and discovering something new are perhaps more likely. So that's why I am making myself paint in this way. So I'm just sort of moving this orange around the composition to sort of integrate it and lead the eye, helps to lead the eye through the composition. Now when I put paint on, I like to explore the sort of different marks. I like to lose control of it. I don't want to be sort of controlling the media completely. In fact, what I'm trying to explore is how little control I can have and still create a painting that I like. And so this is why I put the paint on and then shift it around with the colour shaper to see how I can sort of oscillate between having control and then not having control. And here I'm just using a different tool, using a pencil instead of a paintbrush to create a mark. And now I'm coming in with that pencil over the top of the wet paint and sort of dragging it through to create more lines. I'm really just exploring and experimenting, and nothing is permanent. Everything is up for negotiation. If I don't like it, then it can be painted over or removed entirely. But there's always possibilities that I'm going to discover something that I do like, and then that will stay until I don't like it. There's always that possibility too. So I'm just sort of flicking this turquoise colour around and just like I did with the orange, and using that with the other blues that are already there. Creating sharp edges with soft edges, looking for differences and just looking for paint effects that interest me. Okay, so the black area there was very flat, and now I'm trying to create some depth by just adding some dark blue over the top, and we'll see what happens when that dries. Just shifting it over into the other blues as well. And then adding some more turquoise through here. And now I've decided that I'm going to go all in on the light. I'm going to make this a lighter area and carve out some dark shapes perhaps from it. So the painting is constantly changing, and I never really know what I'm going to end up with, which is kind of exciting. So now I'm trying to link this area at the top with this shape at the bottom, and kind of repeating it here, but deciding that that's no good, so I'm not going to have that. And bringing the shape over to the right hand side. I'm sort of aware of there being a left hand side and a right hand side, and I want to try and integrate their composition more so that they are more linked. Playing with that orange. So I'm just really exploring and being very experimental here. I really don't know what I'm going to end up with, but that's what's interesting to me, especially in my sketchbook, where I can be as loose as a goose and see what happens. Okay, so I'm now going to bring in some more saturated blue here next to this grey that's emerged, and I'm digging some turquoise out from underneath, and that's where I got to, but I wasn't actually overly happy with that, so I went back into it, brought in some more shapes with stencils, and brought in some more lines and some acrylic ink, and created some more depth in the layers, and I think I'm happier with it now as a final piece.